Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be reviewing a professional game that was played on Fox Go server between Xie Ke and Ke. At the time of this video, Ke is number 2 in the world and Xie Ke is number 12 in the world. So top 15 players. So this is the cream of the crop right here. Wasn't a tournament game, it was just a casual game. So that meant the time settings were 1 minute main time with 3 15-second overtime periods. Reason I chose this game is the opening is pretty interesting, but later in the game there's a pretty big fight that breaks out that is pretty complicated, but also the result of the fight is pretty interesting. And pretty peculiar, something you don't see every day. So that's why I wanted to highlight this game. I am currently working on my next lecture video. I know many months ago I said I would, I was having one coming out, but I actually scrapped that lecture video. So I had to come up with a new idea, and I have some new ideas for lectures, and I've started creating the videos for them. So look forward to the next lecture video, hopefully coming sometime soon. So yeah, let's get into it. Xie is black and Ke is white. Yes, their names are very similar. So hopefully it's not too confusing when I refer to them by name in the video. Not much in the opening. The very early opening, I should say. Yep, get Sente to invade the other corner. And the white actually extends here. This is a pretty... it's interesting because it's not a bad move, of course, not at all. But you definitely don't see this kind of side extension that often. Especially with these new 3-3 invasions. So I thought it was a nice change of pace, right? I would expect, white to go like all the way, something crazy like that. Maybe this attachment, try to keep Sente basically, but play the pretty calm move. And black follows suit and just plays a very understandable move. Like you take the left side, I'll take the upper side. But then white then attaches. So the reason for this attachment is when black hanes, this is the best move. If black descends, when white turns, you can see this stone here. Actually, 1 second. View, show coordinates. There we go. Much better. This stone at C10 is in the perfect position, right? White has 2 stones and has a 3-space extension. So that would be perfect. And black would like to keep answering, but after this, white's position is pretty much already settled. So not saying white would do this immediately, but you can see black spending a lot of moves here, but white can still come in somehow and reduce. And because white has a stone at C10, black really can't attack the stones here. When I was talking about this move, I said, I might have expected a move like this. If white did this directly, you can see white would need to add a move. Like if white tried to come in, black would then be able to attack this group somehow, whether extending there or approaching there or peeping there or invading here. So white wanted the support of the C10 stone first. And after this turn, if black decides to go elsewhere, you can see white getting a next move. It's really reducing black's top. Now, black wants to play a territorial game. This isn't, this move directly isn't Sente. Like, you push once, black can go elsewhere. So black wants to play a territorial game. This would be okay. However, black wants to play a Moyo game. So what does black do? Black plays here, allowing white to get this Hane, which reduces a corner, but notice white really can't fight this much. Right, whether black just extends right? White needs to eventually come back and connect, but it's not super, like this would be the normal move, but white's connection actually isn't perfect. There's still attachments at B13 or B11. So this forces white, even though white reduces the corner, to come back and crawl. Now, a normal move would be just to play a 2-space extension, kind of prevent black from getting this, double wing enclosure, which, before was said to be like, the perfect thing to get. Nowadays, not too important, but still a big move. Black getting this move also means black can invade later. So you might think, okay, I'll play here. But the difference with this move compared to this move is that this move is not necessarily sente. And what I mean by that is, if black plays elsewhere, what is your follow-up? It's not super clear. You probably just leave it for now. Like, you're not threatening much. Whereas if you attach and black goes elsewhere, you can see you're directly encroaching on black's corner and really damaging the C16 stone. So because you're taking away a liberty of the C16 stone, it more prompts a response. The trade-off, though, is you are making black stronger. Right? This is perfect shape, right? Tiger's mouth. So you're basically saying, I'm willing to give black a more structured position in exchange for hopefully sente, right? As I discussed, if black came down, when white turned, it's really hard for black to ignore this, especially since black's going for a kind of moyo style. So black shoulder hits, white hanes, crawls, connects, attaches, hane. This sequence is completely forced. Comes up, and now black hanes, and white cuts, or white pushes and cuts. Creating white pushes first to create cutting points. If white cut directly, black could maybe even just connect here. And now black's wall is super solid. So white creates cutting points first, and then cuts. Black Ataris, and then covers. If black just went here directly, this move, actually, whether white directly goes here, maybe that's a bit much, but just extending up, you can see really damages black's shape. The black Ataris once, and then extends. White turns, black cuts, and white has to Atari this, so then now black can cut through. So why does white have to Atari here? So one, this move is threatening a ladder. So no matter what white does, white needs to help these two stones here. So, when black cuts, notice now, let's say white protected the cut on this side, black would then be able to take here. And even though white, the best white can do is just push, but you can, of course, this is just too painful for black. Too painful. So of course, white has to play on this side. Black just gives up the stone to cut through. White pushes in the corner, hane, throws in once, and then connects. Throw in to get rid of white's ice shape. And then white covers. So this cover is actually very important, because it looks like there's this cut here, right? And it looks pretty dangerous, but this move is the vital point for both shapes. It extends white's liberties, or if black gets it, it reduces white's liberties and extends black's, but if white gets it, it extends white's liberties and ice shape, but also reduces black. So I'll actually talk about this one first. What if black tries to kill white, right? This move locally kills white. Now, when white cuts, let's see. Again, black does not have a lot of liberties here. So if black Ataris here, Atari, and you can see no good for black. Black just does not have enough liberties. And it looks like black can kind of hane here and extend the liberties. But white can connect here and start reducing black's liberties from this side. And you can see black cannot win this semi-eye. If black instead goes here, white will Atari and connect. If black connects here, white will throw in an Atari, so that's no good. So if black tries to refute though, then white can push in and cut. And notice these black stones only have 2 liberties. The stones at B11. Now it's true that these white stones also only have 2, but this black Ataring this way to try to ladder, these white stones will actually hit the Q4 stone. So this moves a ladder breaker. And black trying to ladder the other direction, well, it's put these 3 stones in Atari, which means if black extends liberties, white would then be able to come back. There's no way for black to capture any of the white outside stones, thus he can't save the stones here. So then if we change, and it's because white got this move. If white cut directly though, white needs to block here for liberties. Just say block those in. Make sure to kill white's eye shape. If we do the same exact sequence with this one, white Ataris, black pushes through, notice the big difference. This group of black stones has 3 liberties now, which means black can now Atari and now extend. And at this point, there's no way white can keep these stones cut off, which means white will probably lose the upper left group. Because of white, so one, black is directly threatening these 5 stones in a ladder and these 5 stones in a ladder. So if white Ataris this way, notice this is an Atari. When black turns, black's threatening to capture at G15. So white needs to extend liberties this way, but then black can turn here and capture the stones here. So that way doesn't work. And of course, if white goes this way, this will just be a very simple ladder. White cannot get any more liberties. So because of this move here at B12, black gains extra liberties. And again, white cannot, ignore on this side because white doesn't have enough liberties at all. All right, Atari, and then connect. Black has way too many liberties. So basically, this is the only move. Now black plays a very sharp move. Because again, there's this cut here that black wants to protect. So what black does is black hanes, which you might think, oh, well, there's a double Atari, so of course white's going to take it. Well, if white takes it, notice after white takes, black covering here is protecting this cut. Which means if white continues in the center, black would be able to kill this upper left group. So that means white needs to, after this, come back and live, but then black will get this huge move, and now all of a sudden white's a heavy group inside of black's moyo. So this is a very good move. So I think this is a good good lesson here. Treating stones lightly, right? Black is treating this F11 stone lightly. Even though white can capture it, it's not bad for black. In fact, it's good for black. So good lesson, right? Like you might think, oh, this move protects the cut and saves this 1 stone, but when white just turns, or when white lives, you can see now, even though you can extend, you can see white has much more Aji. So big difference. Big difference. White hanes back. Now when black connects, you can see now he's created this cut here. Whereas if you just extend up and then white comes back, right? White won't necessarily play this move. White could just turn. So you'll see after this, white plays here and then lives. So black has a choice here. So of course, this is the hot area in the game. If black extends up, black would be... Not sure if white will play here, but you can see this would create a local fight, right? And I'm not sure it'd be necessarily bad for black, but... so this is an option for black. Black could also cut here and just keep extending, or maybe white would turn here, actually. Yeah, this is also an option, but the move that black played in the game, Xie played in the game, is like, the move is so good. It's so good. Black played this clamp. Now this clamp is, this is an amazing move. Amazing move. Yeah, it's the only way I could describe it, honestly. So what is this move doing? If white comes in, notice white would be... Now white has 2 weak groups, so even though white can still capture these 2 stones, now black has swallowed an extra stone, right? Now white has basically sacrificed a stone that he didn't need to sacrifice, right? Yeah, if white connects, now when black connects here, this is now again Sente, and you can see all these moves are helping solidify black's center. Because even though there's all these cuts, there's no way white can capture any of the cutting stones, or any of black's stones. So in the game, white goes here. Now, you might be thinking, well, is that move Sente for black? You know, if white goes elsewhere. Well, black Atari's here. You know, this would probably be fine, but you can see black shape has a lot of cuts, and while it would be risky, it doesn't cleanly capture white. If black cuts here, again, doesn't cleanly capture white. Black extends up. Very similarly, it doesn't cleanly capture white. So the question is there a way for black to capture white? The answer is there is, with this move. This is a very good move. So this is what the clamp is threatening. It's not threatening to just cut off the 1 stone here. It's threatening to capture all the stones. You can see if white tries to escape, Hane, Atari, and then Atari, and white cannot escape. If white tries to wedge, again, just Atari, and come back. So, I guess the important thing here is, without this black stone here, right, this would be the shape point white would want to play, right? This is very good shape. Even better than the tiger's mouth. So this would be the shape point white would want. So, same exact idea here. It's a shape point of white's shape. So that's the point to punish white. So of course white knows that, so white just Hanes. But now black can ignore, and you can see now black is really building the top. White extends. Always extend once here. So there's a kind of a proverb about many people are like, how long should I extend on the second line? So you want to extend on the second line until the opponent's block is not Sente. So if white if white didn't extend, black turning here is Sente, because it would kill the group. So you want to extend until it's not Sente. Right now, if white ignores, this move is not Sente. So that's how long you want to extend. In the game, white still comes in. Says, black, your area is too big at the top. I need to do something. Of course, black cuts and then connects. And now we get into some Sabaki, because black has a strong wall on the left, strong wall on the right, and a stone in the middle, right? So it'd be pretty difficult. Peep, of course, and then attach. Always look for attachments, right? We have a huge wall on the left, a huge wall on the right, But then we have this lonesome stone at the top, where if you look just at the 2 stones, it's a very, very local fight, where it's 3 liberties, there's 3 liberties. If you just jump like this, you're allowing black to use all his stones. Now it's 4 white stones inside of black's giant area. But when you play attachments, you're making the fight super local. Super local. So that's why you want to look for attachments when making Sabaki. Black extends to avoid giving white forcing moves. White extends as well. And then black just says, okay, how are you going to play now on this side? So black's trying to get a dual attack. Right, if white runs this way, let's just put a very simple sequence on. You know, even though black loses, if black ends up sacrificing this, this is okay, because notice black running this way is helping to surround white at the top. So that's kind of the idea. And white plays here, so the only reason you play here as opposed to here is if you don't like your opponent cutting off this stone, which I guess white did not like, because probably black can extend here and then extend like this, which is a sente. No, it's not directly sente, but maybe black would actually leave this. And you can see now black has created the idea of potentially capturing these stones here. So white just goes here. Now if black goes here, white wouldn't go here, because this would lead to the same thing. White would just extend down. So it's a big difference. Big difference. Of course, this is much worse shape, right? But if you don't want to get cut here, or you don't want them to play here, those are the 2 reasons. But usually you do play here. But in this case, white chose to just extend. Black Hane's here. Hane, and then gets the double Hane. Hane back, and then extend. Usually you want to think about double Haneing, but in this case it just doesn't work, because this is an Atari, and then white can capture. So, same thing if black double Ataris on this side. Cut, cut, and then capture. Black just extends. White push, or Hane's here. Black jumps. White attaches. This might look like a strange attachment, because it's like, oh, black can just push and cut. But after this, white would then be able to a double Atari here, and it would be quite painful. Quite painful indeed. So very good move here, actually. Very good move. Black does push, but then connects here to prevent the double Atari. And again, this is efficiency right here, because eventually black's going to have to play d11 anyways, because if white gets a12 and a10, black will need to connect. Whereas if black played a move like, even know what other moves are there, this one, something like this, or yeah, I don't even know. It's just very efficient to, oh, how can I protect the double Atari, but also, since I know I need to play at d10 anyways later, may as well play it now. So this is a good note on efficiency. And now white Ataris. So the point of this move actually wasn't for the stone, it was for white to get g14. Because if black just connects this move again, double Atari. So black needs to fix. You can see it helps white's shape. So white isn't actually worried about this stone here. You can see how it helps white make an eye in the center here. And then jumps here. This move is really good. It's really good. Because it's loosely protecting this cut here, right? If black tries to cut, on this side you can see there's no way black can escape. Or actually black can escape, but white would happily just give up these stones here. Should you probably not do that and just like maybe do that one? Yeah. The capture in the center is much bigger than the 4 stones here. Yeah. If black cuts on this side, same thing, although worse for black, because now black can only capture the 1 stone here, and you can see, oh, so bad for black. It's actually helped white make eyes in the center. So this move's really good. So white's loosely protecting the cut here. And again, when you're making Sabaki, you're not trying to save every single stone. So even though in that one sequence black can capture the 4 stones here, it doesn't matter. Because white saves the main group and actually gets some compensation in the center. So you got to think lightly when you're making Sabaki. Got to think lightly. Black pushes, extend, extend, and then comes down. And now black comes back here. So you can see, this is what black wanted. Black played all these moves here to make white heavy on this side, right? White getting this move, oh, it helps white's shape so much and basically captures these 2 stones. But by getting this in when black could, you see now after attacking, right, these moves here by white, M13 moves, these are helping black to attack the stones here. White plays here. Don't want to turn. The reason you don't want to turn is 1, it helps black make good shape, but 2, it actually, you still need to come back and protect your shape even, because there's a cut there. But by going here, you're not allowing black to get good shape in Sente. In the game, black cut. See how white answers. White plays here, preventing the double Atari, and then comes down, and then white cuts. And then black plays there. So the question is white alive? So short answer is yes. There's no way for black to kill white here. So just to show a few sequences, because it's very close. It's very close to being dead for sure, but just not quite. So let's see. If black takes out this eye, right? Notice this will then allow white. Say white just extends down like this. You can see this is threatening this cut here, and to capture the stones here. So black connects here, white can cut, and this would end in white capturing the stones here. So black has to protect on this side somehow. Actually don't know the best way to, honestly, because its cut still exists. So let's just say black connects, white can then capture this stone. So going this side does not work. So what if black, let's see, just goes here? If black just goes here, white going, well, let's say white Ataris once. And that's an Atari white needs to throw in, or capture. If black throws in, white can then push here. And this push here, you can see, is threatening to make 2 eyes. So white would just be alive. Very simply, white could probably go here and make another eye, but you get the idea. To show the point, white has an eye at L15 and M14. So black needs to Atari here, but again, after the throw-in, white can just turn and make an eye here. So close, but black cannot kill white. So black just leaves it for now. Cuts to create Aji. Yep, and then comes back, I believe. Yep. So black wants to attack this group here. So black's going to play on the stronger white side to get strength. If black just plays a move like this, or like this, when white just connects, black's gain is very minimal. Like, what's black gaining from attacking here? So black's trying to get strength first. Because if black tries, to go too ham, as they say, he would actually end up hurting himself, right? He would be the one to be getting captured all of a sudden. So black strengthening his group first before coming back. So now if white comes here, protects. When black jumps, you can see now if white jumps, now black black gets a very solid position here and is able to settle pretty easily. So I think this is a good direction. I want to attack the center, so I lean on white's stronger side. White knows that, and white says, okay, I'll just come out. And then black comes down, and then white plays a very sharp move. Right? Black jumped with a knight's move, and knight's moves can be cut. So white goes straight for the throat, and then plays there. And this is actually very important. This is where like going here would be not as good. Because after black connects, you can see white can still be captured. Right? After this, you can see how, yeah, this would be very ugly for white, because white's shape here is actually very heavy, right? So if we play very simply, I don't know, black can push and then do this. See, white's all of a sudden not alive. So if you just Atari simply like this is no good. But if you go here, it's a big difference, because when black connects, now you can just cut directly if you want it. Or at least when you cut, your shape's much better. So it's a big difference. So this is a case where, you know, threatening a snapback isn't fancier, or, well, you know, what have you. It's actually better. Black just says, well, because white could have connected, right? So instead of connecting here, black says, okay, I'll just go here. And then white cuts, or throws in the snapback, and then black caps. So I think white actually made a mistake here, is this jump. White should ask first here whether black really wants to help these stones. Because if black doesn't want to save these stones, then this jump here is not super important, right? White played this jump to help the group here, but if white can just capture and connect, then this jump at k6 that white did doesn't really merit that much. So like if we change the order of moves, right? Like if black went here, like white could just connect here, right? Or think about connecting here, but it would be like as if white played there, right? Doesn't, and then now white comes back and connects. So I don't, you know, it's hard to question, you know, the moves of the second best player in the world, but I think like this result has to be good for black, is what I'm saying. Locally at least. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm not in the correct order, that's why. So yeah, this move seems out of order if you do a Tawari analysis. So white attaches. Black Ataris. Get that Atari while you can. And then black Hanes. It's a very strong move. Very strong move. White cuts. Black Ataris once, then drops down. White Ataris on top. And then cuts. Or connects. Black needs to connect here to keep these stones cut off. White cuts. And then black has to cover. Black would like to be able to do this, but black does not have a lot of liberties, is the issue. So white would probably win this semi-I. Yeah. So black just wants the points here. Oops. Black wants the points here. But then white can turn. So white did end up cutting off a group in the center here. And you can see K6 does end up being very helpful. Black has to turn though. Hane, Atari, and then extend. Now white's next moves might look strange, but they're actually super important to what white is about to do. White extends once, black Ataris. This move's pretty big because it prevents white from doing this move in Sente. White probably didn't do this directly because it forces black to make good shape, but still. It's a good move to get in. Or it was a time Suji, but I think it's a good move to get in now. So it looks like white just has to keep crawling, right? And that's pretty painful. But white actually has bigger plans than that. White throws in, again, looks like a strange move, and then jumps across. So what is the point of these moves here? So you can see white has basically, as opposed to just doing this one, like this, you can see it forced black to play G1, which you can see actually doesn't help black at all. In fact, it reduces black's liberties. And you'll see what white is planning with all these moves is to come down at J1. J1 is now Sente, because white is threatening to capture. Right? If black turns, boom, captured. Without these exchanges here, like this, J1, no, not Sente. Black has 3 liberties. White has 2 liberties here at E2. Nothing white can do. Now, that's all good and dandy, right? You know, it helps white's eye shape a little bit, right? Getting J1 and Sente, but white would still need a crawl, right? That'd be pretty bad. Actually, white can play at the goblin's nose. So you can see. So black has to come here. But what if black tries to refute? White would then, I'm not sure if white would directly do it, but even if white goes here once, white can then cut like this. And notice, because of the stone at E2 and the fact that white made black play G1, black is unable to threaten the Atari here because this is a self-Atari. So after this cut, and notice black can't play K1. So even though it looks like white has 2 liberties, white actually has 3 liberties. And these black stones here only have 2, so black needs to extend liberties. But notice when black pushes here, now it's very difficult for black because black Atari's this way. Now white captures these 5 stones. But if white goes this way, or if black goes this way, white can then capture these stones. So it's tough. It's probably game ending at that point. I was saying that I'm not sure white can do it directly though. I didn't look at this while I was reviewing. So yeah, so that's why black has to go here, but now white can cover there. And it's a big difference between white just having to crawl like this, right? And getting this result. Because now black's shape has cuts in it. White gets on the second line, or gets on the third line as opposed to the second line. And again, it's good to reiterate that this only worked because white threw in. If you do the exact same sequence without this throw in, this one here, if you try to play this move without the throw in, it would end up bad for white, because then black would be able to play H1 to capture white. Atari plays there. White comes down, and then white just comes down again. White doesn't know which way white wants to cut yet. Plus white's just defending before attacking. There's still weaknesses in black's shape, so white's just going to defend. Black comes down. Now white plays the shape point here. Black just connects, and white connects, and then black covers. So black's saying, you can capture these 7 stones here, but I'll play on the right side. And then I guess white says, yeah, the right side's too big. And then black plays in the middle. White peeps, attaches, and then goes there, which this move surprised me for sure. I watched some of this game live. I watched the beginning live, but missed the middle game, and then I watched towards the end. Actually, after this fight is when I started watching again. I forget why, but regardless, going back through the review, what I don't understand is why white doesn't at least cut. Because it forces black to come back. And if white goes here, of course, you know, this result would be pretty good for black. Right? Well, white captures 1 stone, but black takes the entire right side. But white can actually just do this, because this move is threatening to capture the 1 stone. So if black tries to save, white could then just net, and black cannot save these 2 stones. So that seems pretty good for white. And again, black comes back to save the 2 stones. White can then capture here. So I'm not really sure what white didn't like. Maybe this one. Yeah, I guess it's this one, right? Atari. And then like this. But can black cut? Yeah, I think black can cut. It's close. But black is able to cut here. So I guess it does make sense. Yep. Because white has to save these stones here at 06, but also can't capture anything on this inside. So okay, it does make sense. Okay. Yeah, I didn't consider black Ataring first. And if white goes this way, if black captures, of course, white can connect. But black will extend, and then can extend once more, because you can see this is threatening this move, and then black can come back and connect. So okay, makes sense to me. So I guess white attached for Aji. See how black answered, and then goes here. Cool, 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 cool. Black connects, probably to avoid those complications I showed. Once white gets the N6 move, and then white comes down. So now, even though it looked like black had a pretty strong wall, all of a sudden, even though white's shape is, it's light, but light does not equal strong. So white's shape is light, but it's not strong. So white has, but white is surrounding black, so it's pretty interesting. Yeah, black just goes straight for the cut. White has to come back. Black pushes once, attaches, and cuts. So this is very strong fighting from both players. White needs to, these are the stones with, you know, cuts here and here, so white needs to save them. Black connects though. White needs to cut, then black can Atari, and then goes here. White comes back here. Yeah, comes back here, threatening to cut. Black Hanes. White just extends. I'm not really sure why white didn't really play this one. Yeah, I'm not sure. Also, I kind of went quick here, just because all these moves are basically forced. There's, from basically this cut, everything here is forced. Like white can't Atari from this side, so he needs to go here. This move Sente. This is the shape point of the knight's move here. Yeah. So all this is forced. White needs to cut, white needs to answer. Push, place there. And then again, not sure why white didn't do this one, because this would be the shape point I would think of. So I'm not sure why white chose not to. Connects. White pulls here, pulls back here. Yeah. Kind of saying, okay, black, you can come down like this, but I will capture the center. Yeah, well, I will capture the center. And I'm not sure, I don't think black can actually kill here. Oh no, he might be able to. Yeah, I think black can kill, but the center is pretty big. Actually, no, he can't, because this move is actually Sente to connect. Okay, yeah, so black actually can't kill the center. So black needs to come back and connect, or kill the corner. And then white protects. Black Ataris, attaches now. Hane, and then extend down. This extend down is very important, because for white to take out the eye, white needs this move, but then white needs to throw in, but then black can clamp here, and you can see white's now, or black's now connected. Yeah, if white throws in once, same thing. Black can still clamp. So black is now alive here. It looks close, but black is alive here. So white plays, makes shape. Black, the clamp still works. So black peeps at the shape point, and now white attaches here. So this is a very strong move, because it prevents that clamp I was showing, but also threatens to connect. Black pushes though, amazing white. Again, there's a knight's move here, and white simply doesn't want to just connect here. It actually doesn't help white's eye shape at all, but this move does, because it's asking to connect with the N13 group, thus kind of threatening to cut black off. So black has to connect back, and then white connects, and then black pushes. And again, this is because the clamp doesn't exist anymore. But white says, but I can Atari and do different things. So black Ataris though connects here. This is good timing. Yeah. So Seki, make Seki. White didn't want to. So actually before, let's say here. Let's say white's alive on the right side. If white cut directly, it would still be Seki. So the best white can do is just cut here, but then black can save. Of course, at the time, black would, because white's not alive, black would just say, okay, I'll take the stones here. So white actually didn't have a chance to play there, to capture here. But what this has done is now this group at the bottom does not have, or now it needs to live. So black pushes and throws in and extends. And white Hanes, black Ataris, and then comes down. So you can see what has been created is a double Seki. Double Seki. So this group here, or these two groups of stones, cannot capture each other. And then I'll show it. I'll show it. There's no way for white to capture black. Obviously black cannot play a T1 ever, so I'll show if white tries to kill black. So if white tries to kill black, you know, white needs these connections. Of course black will throw in, like so. Black Ataris directly, that'd be bad, so black needs to take, because it would be a self Atari. White needs to take. Fill outside liberties, and you can see Seki. White doesn't need to take, but for simplicity's sake, you can see neither player can ever play a T1 to capture the other group, because it would be a self Atari. And even though black can fill here, doesn't help his liberties. So it is a Seki. And I'm not sure, I'm guessing black had to have read this out when he went here, right? Like, what if white ignored me? Because white can locally kill black, but black must have known, Master of Red must have known, I don't know, that he could make Seki here, which is pretty incredible. So white has to come back and live. Black Ataris, white Ataris down to make sure it lives, comes down, connects, cuts. This is to get an eye at the top. This is another way to get an eye. Atari pushes, and then black captures, and at this point white resigns. White doesn't have a lot of points anywhere. White has a 4-point group up here, has maybe like 3 points here, like 5 points here. White's biggest area of points is this left group here, but even that's, at most 10, including captures, right? Whereas black himself doesn't have a ton of territory, but it's hard to compete with its bottom left for white, so white resigns. But I think this double or quadruple Seki, or double Seki, because a regular Seki involves 2 groups, so it'd be a double Seki on one quadrant of the board is pretty incredible. And I believe if you count how many groups there are, there's upwards of 10 groups in this game, which is also pretty insane. So yeah, pretty intense fighting. Lots of moves black was playing, and white, of course. But the highlights for me were some of the moves black were playing, including this clamp in the center. Like, I love this clamp in the center. How black handled the bottom left was very good. Yeah. White's Goblin's Nose here is very good as well. I like how both players handled the Sabaki at the top. So I think it's a very high level and good game. For sure. Yeah. definitely one of my most recent games that I really like to watch. So that's why I wanted to show it. And hopefully you learned something from the game. But yeah, that's it for this video. If you have any questions or comments about the game or about anything Go related, please let me know in the comments. I make sure to try to read all the comments. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.